Never.
What?
I had my last birthday a year ago today.
I Love Lucy was a popular comedy that aired on American television from October 15, 1951 until May 6, 1957. It ran for 16 years. Additionally, the comedy has experienced a number of firsts, even though it has been very successful up until this point. This was the first television program ever to have a screenplay that was shot on 35mm film in front of a live studio audience on television. Furthermore, it was the first program to utilize a 3-camera setup throughout its entirety. In a surprising turn of events, the most memorable aspects of the show were not even those firsts. Listed below are a few of the many fascinating bits of information about I Love Lucy that you ought to be aware of. There is a good chance that you have never heard these before, even if you have heard them before and discovered other fascinating information about I Love Lucy. A. Lopez Larry? Larry Lopez was supposed to be Desi Arnaz's initial name on the program when it was first being put together. However, the name was changed to Larry Lopez. The name Ricky Ricardo was changed to Ricky Ricardo solely due to the fact that executives felt that Larry and Lucy were terrible examples of alliteration. During their time together, William Frawley and Vivian Vance did not have a friendship. In real life, William Frawley and Vivian Vance, who played Fred and Ethel, were almost 20 years apart in age. Therefore, it was only natural that they would have disagreements while they were working together on set. They were reportedly at odds with one another and frequently insulted one another, as has been reported. Until many years after the conclusion of the program, their fellow actors were unable to comprehend the stress that they were subjected to on a daily basis. The red hair of Lucille Ball. Lucille Ball's famous red hair did not be seen for the first time until the year 1942. The movie Do Barry Was a Lady was responsible for coloring her hair blue. By its very nature, it was brown. Upon her initial arrival in Hollywood, she took the decision to color her hair blonde. Due to the meticulous care with which she maintained her bright red hair, she would become famous. All of the shows were filmed in front of an audience of 300 people. It was in front of a live audience of 300 people that the program was shot, from the very first to the very last possible shot. A surprising number of the moments were captured in a single take. As stated by Desi Arnaz, Lucille Ball is able to perform more effectively when she is observed by authentic individuals. You can listen to the lyrics of the theme song in one of the episodes. Lucy's Last Birthday is the only episode in which this happens, and it is during this episode that you hear the lyrics to the theme song. The lyrics of the song state that, "I love Lucy and she loves me. To the extent that two people can be content, we are. From time to time, we have disagreements, but in the end, we always end up reconciling. Nobody can kiss as passionately as Lucy can. I am her man, and she is my wife. You see, life is wonderful because Lucy loves me, and I love Lucy, yes. I am her man." The memory of Desi Arnaz was truly remarkable. As a result of his extraordinary memory, Desi Arnaz is recognized as one of the most capable individuals in the industry when it comes to being prepared for any situation. He was able to read and commit to memory all of his lines in a single reading of the script. The show staff reported that he never fumbled his lines, despite the fact that he had very little preparation. Lucille Ball came dangerously close to passing away in front of the cast and crew. Are you familiar with Lucy from the well-known incident in which she stomped on grapes? In spite of the fact that it turned out that Ball was choking on the grape, she continued filming on it. After the cameras had stopped recording, the team arrived to assist her after they realized that she was choking on something. In case you are interested in locating the sequence, it was featured in the episode titled Lucy's Italian Movie. The first cover of TV Guide featured Lucille Ball, and she went on to dominate the magazine since then. There would be more for her. During the course of her career, she took part in 39 different covers. There has never been another celebrity who has appeared in TV Guide as frequently as that one has. She has unquestionably earned this honor because she has revolutionized comedies that are broadcast on television. The show was a huge success because it achieved something that no other series had ever done before, and it received a lot of attention. It was apple pectin that was used in the Vitaminum Begin liquid. One of the most well-known sequences in the series, and possibly in all of television, is this particular example. To give the impression that she was getting more and more intoxicated on the particular product, Lucille Ball was consuming a significant amount of apple pectin. Lucille Ball did not acknowledge that the sequence was a humorous point in the series until many years later, despite the fact that she did not enjoy shooting it. The question is, who exactly were Fred and Ethel Mertz? The Ricardos were named after Lucille Ball's close friends and neighbors who were also her neighbors. The celebrity's brother Fred was named after their grandfather, and Ethel was named after Ethel Merman, a Broadway star and friend of the celebrity. Fred was derived from the celebrity's grandmother. It is interesting to note that Vivian Vance, who played Ethel on the program, was Merman's understudy many years ago. Although William Frawley's performance as Fred Mertz in I Love Lucy will go down in the annals of television comedy history, it has been noted that he struggled with memorization. Frawley was unable to memorize his lines. According to the rumors, he would rip pages out of the screenplay and complain about the fact that each episode contained a large number of lines because he was so frustrated with his lines. I Love Lucy was still the most popular television show in the world when it was made available to the public in 1957. Since then, the series has become increasingly significant in terms of the awareness of pop culture. There are still episodes of it that are broadcast in syndication all over the world, and 40 million people in the United States watch them every single year. In addition, Lucy's well-known red hair continues to be a prominent feature of the product. It is possible that someone who is not in the camera's line of sight can be heard saying, "Uh-oh, what a strange situation Lucy finds herself in." In addition to being present for all of the filmings, that particular person is Lucille Ball's biological mother. Glenn Glenn, who was in charge of producing the show's sound, even used the uh-oh for additional shows. Pay reduction. Both Ball and Arnaz agreed to take a pay cut in order to enable the production team to afford to shoot the program on the most expensive and consequently, the most fantastic type of film. I Love Lucy was so popular during its initial run that it halted several aspects of American life. This was due to the fact that the show began to dominate American life. During the half-hour program, there was a significant reduction in the amount of water and telephone consumption, and department stores were even forced to close earlier than usual due to the low demand from customers. Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball owned the show. Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball insisted that the program be shot in Hollywood rather than New York City on expensive 35mm film. They also insisted that the program be shot in Hollywood. In order to solve their issues, the couple decided to acquire ownership of the series. However, CBS was not convinced by their argument. Desilu Productions, which gained approximately $40 million as a result of this move, currently has a much larger amount of money. So, how much is that amount? When considering the current state of the economy, try $256 million. Dreaming of a Friend. Lucille Ball was initially hesitant to make the transition from the film industry to the television industry. Carole Lombard, a friend who had passed away and a comedy actress who had appeared in Ball's dream, was the one who made the decision to take a chance on the television job. The strategy was successful when Ball paid attention to the person she was with in the dream. Only Lucy was able to make fun of Desi's accent. Despite the fact that Desi Arnaz's accent received a lot of attention on the program, the audience frequently remained silent whenever anyone other than Lucy made fun of his speech patterns. A rule that was not explicitly stated on the show was that Lucille Ball was the only person who could make fun of Desi's pronunciations. The foreign man Lucille Ball immediately agreed to the request of the CBS executive to make her popular radio program, My Favorite Husband, into a television program, only on the condition that she was given the opportunity to do so. It was necessary for Desi Arnaz, who was her actual spouse, to play the role of her husband in the film. The executives believed that the average American would never believe that she was married to a foreign man whose accent they were unable to comprehend. At that point in time, Lucy and Desi had been officially married for close to 10 years. Clauses in the Clutch contract. William Frawley's contract allowed him to avoid work in the event that the New York Yankees participated in a World Series game. At the time, he was a huge fan of the New York Yankees, and his contract allowed him to do so. Through the entirety of the show's existence, Frawley was fortunate enough to include the condition because the Yankees won the World Series every year, with the exception of 1 year. The changing relationship between Lucy and Ethel. Despite the fact that they eventually became the best of friends, Lucille Ball and Vivian Vance did not start out as such. Ball questioned whether or not Vance could perform her role in a humorous manner without detracting from the role she played at the beginning of the program. The good news is that they were able to make amends after the commencement of the series. Only one actor expressed interest in working with William Frawley. Other actors were hesitant to work with him due to his reputation for engaging in wild antics and drunken outbursts. However, Desi Arnaz believed that Frawley was the most suitable candidate for the role. One of the conditions that he did impose on him was that he must never be late. Frawley never managed to be throughout the entirety of the play. Who could not be considered for an Emmy nomination? Despite the fact that all 4 key performers received high praise for their performances, Desi Arnaz was never nominated for an Emmy Award. Even though he was nominated 5 times, William Frawley was never successful in winning. Lucy Ball, who had 4 wins out of 13 nominations, significantly outperformed Vivian Vance in terms of her performance, despite the fact that both Lucille Ball and Vivian Vance were honored for their respective performances. Alterations to phone numbers. The producers of the show I Love Lucy made consistent changes to the phone numbers that were utilized on the show in order to prevent them from becoming inoperable. The Ricardos only had 2 phone numbers, whereas the Mertzes had 4 numbering systems. Each time a performer was able to elicit spontaneous applause from the audience, they were rewarded with a silver dollar after the play. This was because the laughter bonuses were awarded. This was a tradition that was carried over from the beginning of the show until the very end. Desi's photographic memory, Desi Arnaz, frequently skipped table readings and rehearsals in order to attend to business at Desilu Studios rather than performing. In spite of this, the actor was able to memorize his lines after reading the script, and he was able to flawlessly perform them during the tapings. In order to guarantee that everything was on the pitch, Arnaz would commit lines from other characters to memory during the performance. Some peculiar occurrences were brought about as a result of Lucy's actual pregnancy. During the production of the 1952 show, a preacher, a priest, and a rabbi, no pun intended, analyzed each episode to ensure that the viewers were not upset by Lucy's pregnancy. According to the regulations that were subsequently implemented, they were required to use the phrase expecting rather than pregnant. After Lucille Ball gave birth to their child, Desi Arnaz had the intention of allowing his wife to recuperate at home without recording the next episode. However, he ended up canceling the recording of the episode. In some fashion, he was successful in convincing the network to air earlier episodes again. The television rerun was initially developed, and it has since evolved into a common practice in the industry. After her divorce from Desi Arnaz in the early 1960s, Lucille Ball became the first woman to manage a major television studio independently. She did this by taking over Desilu. Lucille Ball was a pioneer in the business world. After producing a number of successful programs, she eventually sold the studio for a sum of millions of dollars. Lucille Ball's stage name. When Lucille Ball first began her career as an actress, she was under the impression that having a name that sounded famous would make it easier for her to land roles on Broadway. She chose Diana Belmont as her name in recognition of the illustrious Belmont Stakes racecourse, which is located on Long Island, New York. Because every line on the program was written, there were not many retakes. There was no ad-libbing anywhere in the program. In a later statement, Lucille Ball revealed that we never used ad-lib. It was never improvised by us when we were putting it together on the set. Every syllable was written down, and cue cards were used to make sure that Ball didn't miss a single line, even when she was performing her famous Vitamita vegetation sequence. Reflecting the lives of Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz in the beginning, the producers had the intention of creating a sitcom that was based on the lives of Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz. However, the stars were not in agreement. They believed that their famous lifestyles would not be relatable to others, so they wanted to come up with something new and different. The crazy contracts, continued Lucille Ball, revealed that she had made joke contracts that required absurd things, such as Vance must gain 5 pounds every week and she must never get more laughs than Ball. She also stated that she had made these contracts. Imagine, however, the desserts that Vance could have enjoyed after the show was over, when she and Vance were traveling around the talk show circuit looking for opportunities to perform. Even though other celebrities enjoy having their children appear in shows or other endeavors, Lucille Ball was opposed to the idea of allowing their children to participate in such activities. It was because of this that her children, Lucy and Desi Jr., were never given significant roles in the television show I Love Lucy. However, Desi Jr. did make a brief appearance in the final episode of the series. Years later, the children did not feel any regret about the fact that they did not play a significant role in the performance. Please, parents, give this some thought. Having a typical life. When Ball was not working on the set or managing the production facility, they frequently led normal lives. Her interests included gardening, drawing, and swimming. It would appear that their attitude of being a every guy from the show has carried over into their everyday lives. George Reeves, a well-known actor, played the role of Superman in the episode There's Real Magic in the World. This was done in order to keep the illusion alive for younger viewers. It was Ball's desire, however, that the actor be recognized as Superman in the credits rather than receiving credit for his work. Reeves was in agreement. Mertz's William Frawley and Vivian Vance only missed 7 episodes of the show's total run, all of which were in the first season, despite the fact that they played relatively supporting roles. In the television shows The Quiz Show and Lucy is Jealous of Girl Singer, Vance appeared alongside Frawley. On the other hand, he appeared on his own in the television shows The Audition and Lucy Does a TV Commercial. Neither one of them made an appearance in the first few episodes of the pilot episodes of either Lucy Plays Cupid or The Young Fans. No laugh tracks. Despite the fact that I Love Lucy is widely considered to be the epitome of comedy, the show did not create or make use of the laugh track, which is a prevalent sitcom cliché. Even in front of a studio audience, the producers showed on-location videos, recording and utilizing the genuine feelings of the production crew. The show incorporated real-life responses from the studio audience whenever it was possible to do so. Before making her debut on Broadway in the musical Wildcat in 1960, Lucille Ball had never performed on Broadway before. Despite having received training in singing and dance, she had never performed professionally on Broadway. Both Cy Coleman and Carolyn Lee were responsible for writing the musical, which was about a man who was considering becoming an oil prospector and his sister. There were only 172 performances of the play before Ball was forced to leave it due to a virus, despite the fact that it received positive reviews. Following the conclusion of the play, Ball did not make any further appearances on Broadway. In spite of this, the program did leave a legacy that will endure forever with the song Hey Look Me Over, which has become a standard. Callback Lucy and Ethel gave a joint performance of the Cole Porter song Friendship in the episode titled Lucy and Ethel Buy the Same Dress. The song is a reference to Ball's career in the film industry, as it was performed by Ball alongside Red Skelton and Gene Kelly in the film Dewberry Was a Lady, which was released in 1943. As was mentioned earlier, the actual pregnancy that Lucille Ball was experiencing served as the inspiration for the entire premise of the rerun. Prior to that, summer replacement shows would fill the time slots that were previously reserved for a show. During the summer of 1952, My Little Margie took over as the show that was broadcast on television. This is an interesting fact about television. Throughout its entire run, I Love Lucy was sponsored by a number of major corporations, which was typical of the television industry at the time. When the series first aired in 1951, it was supported by commercial sponsors such as Philip Morris Cigarettes, Procter & Gamble's Cheer Detergent, and Lilt Home Permanent. Throughout the course of the series, actress Mary Jane Croft played 3 significant roles: Cynthia Harcourt, Evelyn Bixby, and Betty Ramsey. Her subsequent appearances on Here's Lucy and The Lucy Show were later on. Disco Lucy. The disco version of the show's theme song, which was performed by the dance group Wilton Place Street Band, was a huge hit in the year 1977. The song remained on the charts for a total of 7 weeks with a top 40 hit status. In the United States of America, the swearing-in ceremony for President Eisenhower was witnessed by millions of people. With that being said, the episode of Lucy Goes to the Hospital in which Lucy gave birth to little Ricky was watched by a greater number of people than the inauguration. Lucille Ball was the United States of America's favorite television personality. Lucy saved Star Trek. In addition to her work on her television shows, Lucille Ball played a significant part in the preservation of Star Trek, which is one of the other most well-known properties of the medium, and was created by Desilu Studios. According to a story that was published in Business Insider in 2016, Ball went against the advice of her board of directors and produced the Star Trek pilot, despite the fact that it was obvious that the show would be expensive to shoot. Ball believed that the series was about the USO artists who were on tour. This pilot, which was referred to as The Cage, was a resounding failure. NBC, on the other hand, made the improbable decision to commission a second pilot project, which is a step that no man has ever taken before. Mr. Spock, played by Leonard Nimoy, was the only cast member from the original pilot that continued to be a part of the show, and it eventually developed into what it is like today. Despite the fact that her board of directors had expressed their disapproval, Ball agreed to pay for this reshoot. Lucy Ricardo's continued appearance at the Universal Studios Florida theme park is evidence that Lucille Ball and her character have continued to have a significant cultural impact. This is evidenced by the existence of the Universal Studios Florida theme park. Lucy was a tribute that was held at the park from 1992 until 2015, and it was a comprehensive exhibit that was dedicated to the actress and the character. There has also been a Lucy walk-around figure at the park ever since it first opened its doors. A statue of Lucille Ball was erected in 2009 at the Lucille Ball Memorial Park in Celeron, New York, which is the location of her birthplace. One and only problem? To put it mildly, the statue was a poor representation of the subject. Many people in the neighborhood started calling it Scary Lucy as time went on. Lovely Lucy was the name given to the statue that was installed in its place in 2016. This statue was designed to be more similar to the actual Ball. The biopic Being the Ricardos, which is a brand new film about Lucy and Desi, is scheduled to be released in 2021. Nicole Kidman and Javier Bardem will play the leading roles, and Aaron Sorkin will write and direct the film. For both the actors in front of and behind the camera, the Amazon movie possesses a significant amount of star power. There is a widespread consensus that I Love Lucy remains one of the most acclaimed television shows of all time. According to a statement made by the AB Club in 2012, I Love Lucy is considered to be one of the two foundational texts of American television comedy, along with The Honeymooners. The program is perhaps the most important in the history of television because it was the first to pioneer a great number of innovations and was responsible for the normalization of a great number of others. It would be easy to express gratitude for the program for accidentally inventing the television repeat.